Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really controversial incident involving Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. But we're looking at it through a very specific lens, a behavioral and security analysis. The source we're digging into claims that what you see isn't what you get, and we're going to walk through their argument piece by piece.
So right off the bat, this is the central question: staged attack or real threat? The whole analysis we're about to unpack hinges on the idea that from a behavioral standpoint, this event just doesn't look real. So let's see how they build that case.
All right, so here's our roadmap. We'll start with the incident itself. Then we'll get into what the analysis calls the body language red flags. From there, we'll look at the security response, or lack thereof, analyze the attacker's own actions, and finally, get to the source's big conclusion.
Okay, let's set the scene. Congresswoman Omar is at a town hall. An individual gets on stage and sprays some kind of substance on her. Now, the source video we're looking at immediately hits the brakes and asks, wait a minute, is this for real? And that question is the entire foundation for their deep dive.
So the very first thing this analysis zooms in on is body language. The argument is pretty simple. The way the key people on that stage reacted just doesn't line up with how humans typically react when they're suddenly attacked.
And this is where they draw a really sharp contrast. Normally you'd expect a freeze, fight, or flight response, right? You try to get away from the danger. But the analysis claims that Representative Omar shows no real shock and actually moves towards the attacker. At the same time, her associate seems to just casually walk right into the danger zone, showing no genuine emotion. It's odd, according to them.
And this is what the source finds so telling. The people who were just watching, the onlookers in the crowd, they looked genuinely panicked. Their eyes were wide, they looked confused, they had the reaction you'd expect. So the analysis asks, why did the people on the sidelines seem more scared than the actual targets of the attack? They present that as a huge red flag.
Okay, so moving on from body language, the analysis starts to pick apart the security response. And to do that, they brought in an executive protection expert, Patrick Collis, to give a professional's take on how the security team handled things.
Now, according to this expert, there is a non-negotiable playbook for this stuff. It's a three-step protocol that's basically drilled into every protection agent. First, you neutralize the threat. Second, you get the principal, the person you're protecting, out of there immediately. And third, you evacuate the whole area. It's automatic.
And here's the crucial point from the expert analysis. He says, security did step one. They took the guy down. But then they just stopped. The next two steps, which are just as critical, getting her out and clearing the room, they just didn't happen. And that, in his view, is a massive procedural failure.
The expert is absolutely emphatic on this. You don't get to tell your security team, nah, I'm good, I'll stay here. When there's a live threat, they are in charge, period. Their job is to keep you alive, and that means you follow their orders. So for the security detail to not remove her from the stage is presented as another major red flag.
And this really gets to the heart of the expert's critique. It wasn't just about Representative Omar's safety. Think about it. An unknown substance was just sprayed into a closed room full of people. The decision to just leave everyone there exposed to a potential airborne pathogen, the expert literally calls it the dumbest thing you could do from a security perspective.
So the analysis isn't done yet. They've looked at the victims. They've looked at the security. Now they turn the microscope on the attacker himself. And the argument is that his actions were just as bizarre as everyone else's.
They describe the attacker's movements as clunky, almost awkward. They say his aim was terrible. But the biggest thing they point to is where he sprayed the substance. He hit her chest. The analysis argues that if you're trying to actually harm or disable someone with a spray, you're going to go for the face. You go for the eyes, the nose, the mouth. The chest? That just doesn't make sense to them.
Okay, so after looking at all these different angles, the weird body language, the massive security failures, the attacker's strange behavior, the source analysis starts pulling all these threads together to deliver its final verdict. So let's just quickly recap the red flags they've laid out. You've got a lack of fear from the very people who were attacked. You've got them moving toward danger, not away. You have a total breakdown of standard life-saving security protocol. And you've got an attacker with poor aim and weird targeting. It's the combination of all of these things that leads the analysis to its conclusion.
And that conclusion is delivered pretty bluntly. Based on this whole collection of alleged red flags, the host of the source video just comes right out and says it. To me, this is fake. He even draws a direct comparison to the Jussie Smollett case.
So there you have it. That's the case presented by the source material. It's a combination of behavioral analysis and expert security opinion that really calls the official story of this event into question. We've walked you through their evidence and their conclusion. And, as always here on The Explainer, our job is just to lay out the argument so you can decide for yourself. Thanks for watching.